Hello everyone and welcome back to Painting with Martin. Today we're back with another painting video and we are going to paint a zombie. This looks like this. It's a very basic model. Some friends of mine picked it up at UK Games Expo about a month ago, and it's a very basic model as well, and we're going to see how it turns out. It has some raggedy torn clothes or tattered clothes, and not really much of an armor either. So we're going to paint it very easily and very basically. We're going to use mostly Citadel's paints here, and I've put some blue tack on my paint bottle here and attached it to this one. We'll see how long it will last. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to paint the skin using some Rakarth Flesh from Citadel. We're going to apply it neat, but you can of course water it down with some 50% water if you want to. It's quite hard to figure out where he has his flesh, so I'm going to try and figure out where it is on my own here. Painting the head, of course, the whole head, and of course the back. And this might, the attachment here might not be so stable, but I'm going to try to do it anyways. Painting here the shoulder here, that I think here is this one. We also have the neck here, parts of the chest, which I think is not really sure what is what when it comes to clothes or rags and his skin. So it's a little bit of a guesswork here. So I'm going to try to put in a little bit in between here. And of course the arms here, that's quite like prominent on him. And the other arm here. And this just gives you an idea of how you can paint your zombies. And I'm going to give you an alternative paint towards the end of this video as well. And you can use this as a base for painting, say for example, Zombicide, or Last Night on Earth, or these kind of zombie related games. And it's a very basic coat and very basic way of showing you how to paint zombies. And of course I think he also has some things here, and of course his legs. And the aim here, of course, is just to, and of course his feet, is to create a very basic tabletop level for his skin. Making sure that you turn around the zombie and make sure you cover as much as the skin as you see fit. Of course, we'll turn around. And of course, I've chosen to prime as well this model. You should always prime your miniatures. There is a video of how to prime your miniatures on my channel as well. So you can take a look and search for it there. And there, oh, sorry for turning it off a little bit camera. And it protects the paint a little bit. Not protects the paint, but it makes it a lot easier for the paint to attach itself to the model. All right, looking quite okay like this already, much better than it did before. Just going to touch up some things here before we move on to the next step. And it appears this zombie appeared to be like maybe a goblin or something like that in his previous sorry life. I'm also taking the attempt, putting some focus here in between here to have some focus, extra focus on his clothes should be all torn apart. So that's why I'm painting some of what I think is his skin as well. Alright, looking quite okay like this already. It's a very light model, so it might be hard for you to see in this light as well, but that's what it can look like. Now, our main focus then is going to be on his clothes. And for this one, I'm going to use quite a dominant color, using a contrast color called Ultramarines Blue. You can use any other color you want. You can put painting green or red or grey or a brown or something like that. But I'm going to start with this one and give it a good shake first, like really good shake. Make sure that all those pigments are mixing in the bottle. And of course, clean your brush between thoroughly in your paint jar and wipe it on a piece of kitchen roll, kitchen paper, what you want to call it, and making sure that it's completely clean before you apply the next coat of paint. So no residue of paint is left on the next one. And contrast paint is a nice way of putting some quick color on the model because it mixes the effects of a wash as well as a regular base paint. And different names for this as well. Some of them call them speed paints or express paints, depending on which company you're using. And here it might of course blend into a little bit of the rest of the model, and there's a little bit of a spoiler here as well, not a major spoiler, but I'm holding a workshop on the 10th of July, I believe it is, on the Drix board game coffee shop in Haifa, Israel, and there you can actually paint this model as well. So if you live in the area, you can sign up for the workshop when it's available on drixhaifa.com. There's going to be a link in the description, and you can paint this model as well as some others where I might actually feature that one on the channel as well. The good thing with the contrast color, there's a full tutorial about this on my channel as well, is that it dries fairly quickly and it gives an adequate result when it comes to basic painting skills. And I'm not a pro in any kind. I'm just trying to teach people that it's quite easy to put some paint on your miniatures and have a go at it. And it's actually quite fun in the meantime as well. Don't forget his shoulder. Left of his shoulder, what do you call it, shoulder cloth here as well. As well as here there is a sliver of, using a size 1 brush right now, and you can use a smaller brush if you want to, but this one I found gives right mix of control versus coverage as well. I'm going to leave this one here for another color, which I'm going to put on straight away. This is what it looks like when the contrast paint has been applied. Before I apply this one, I'm going to apply some wash, and the wash I'm going to use for the skin is called Reikland Fleshshade. It's going to give it a little bit more of a fleshy feeling, and not too dead. And so I'm going to give it a little bit of a warmer color. You apply it neat, and to all the fleshy parts. And especially to the face as well. Face is quite important when it comes to these models because it can really give it a nice feeling. It really makes it stand out. And this is just one way of painting zombies. And there are quite a few others, because zombies, depending on which movies and which games you're playing or looking at, they can look very different. Some of them are like very decaying zombies. Some of them look like they just came from a swamp or like, a bog or a marsh. And others are looking like very like rotting flesh, like quite disgusting in this case. So whether you're looking at like The Walking Dead, or you're looking at traditional zombies like, you know, Night of the Living Dead or that franchise, you might have a different perception of what a zombie should look like. And this is just one of them that I've chosen to feature here. Making sure that you cover as much as possible when it comes to this one. All right, looking like this already. It looks quite okay with the blue one drying quite nicely. And while this paint is drying, we're going to pick out the kind of like leather armor featurette on his left hand the lower leg. And for this one, we are going to use another contract color called Snakebite leather. And Snakebite leather gives a nice leathery effect. You can use another colors here as well. You can use, for example, flat brown from Vallejo, which is also fine, or simply red. This another one here would be red leather, would be also perfectly fine. But I'm using this contrast color because I want to finish the model fairly quickly. And as you can see here, it really gives a nice feeling of this leathery like pattern here. And also make sure it's not just one zombie with some blue and some flesh here. It gives a little bit of a nice contrast here that you can pay your extra attention to if you want some nice highlights. Don't forget the back here as well. That's quite important, and make sure you get a nice even coverage. 1 or 2 layers, maybe 2 layers might be necessary here if you want to get nice even coverage. And I'm also going to put a little bit of leather covering here on his thigh, as well as the other thigh here, kind of giving you the impression that there used to be some leather as part of his outfit, but now it's been all decayed. Same thing here on his belt part, giving that a little bit of a look, as well as some straps up here, giving the appearance of that maybe once he was a warrior, but not anymore. And there's also a strap here that you, in case you forgot about it, you can add it here as well, giving it this appearance here, that of a leather strap here, and something up over here. Something like this would be quite fine. Now the other watch hasn't dried entirely yet, but it gives us an opportunity to go in and cover some nice highlights. And when it comes to highlights, you can use some different approaches. I'm going to use some ivory here to make sure that some of his bones are sticking out of his body. Of course, quite disgusting, quite yucky, but it is a zombie we're talking about after all. And this is, of course, I forgot to tell you, this is some Vallejo model color ivory. You can use some Screaming Skull or a Sharp T-Bone if you're using Citadel. That's perfectly fine as well. And I can only see here that it's only like one piece of bone sticking out over here. Over here to the side. And more or less you can see if there's any other things here. Yeah, there's some bone colors over here as well. Kind of like a rib sticking out here, or a mutant flesh here, something like this. Let's see how I did that. This one here, maybe I went a bit off camera. So I did it a bit over here on the back here. So as you can see here, you should wait until it's fully dry, but I don't want you to wait for me too much. So I'm going to use some kitchen paper here, and you simply dry it, speed dry it was what I call it, and making sure that it's mostly covered, and it appears to be quite covered already. You don't have to do this if you just taking the time to wait, but I'm going to use a highlight, which is going to be Flayed One Flesh from from Citadel. And I'm going to use this one to pick out the raised areas of the zombie. So in this case, we'll see how this one turns out. We're going to take his ears, nose, his teeth here as well. Just a few nice highlights. Scores here also on his raised arms, his fingers. Also painting over this one with where I made some mistakes with the blue. And I want to make sure I also paint a little bit lightly over the face here, as well as the top of the head. And the back here. Give it a nice kind of like decaying, rotting flesh kind of tone here. Leaving the shading in the recesses to make it look like blood and gore. And of course the back of the legs. Front of now the paint is very thinned on my brush, so it almost blends into my brush in a nice way. Of course the feet here. As well as the arm. It's almost like a small dry brush here in the end now. Okay, that looks quite okay. Cleaning my brush a little bit more, and we're going to use a tiny highlight as well, using some, let's see if I have this color, some white grey from Vallejo, which is going to be a tiny just of a highlight here. We wanted a little bit whiter. And we can mix it with a bit of ivory if you like, to make sure that it's not too white. And it's going to be on the teeth. And you just nudge it around with your fingernail, with your finger, to make sure that it's like blending into the skin. And here you can use it pure, simulating some bones sticking out here, which is nice. Now that's a nice effect, and we're almost coming up to the last step. Let's see if I can find the last one. Sorry for touching the camera a little bit. We're going to apply some Nurgle Rot. And we're also going to apply some blood for the Bloodgod, Citadel technical paints. Of course, closing the paint jar, giving it an opportunity to create some pus and gory effects. Using a quite small brush for this one. This is a nice paint if you want to apply some really, really disgusting paints. So we apply it here on the back, next to the bone, as well as up here on the as well as here on the chest, and here as well. We can do some nice pus effects. Looking quite okay. It's almost like a decaying rot effect here, and you can apply some more if you like. You can apply this as your discretion depending on how clean or how like disgusting you want your model to look. Okay. Before we apply the blood for the Bloodgod effect, I'm going to try and apply a simple, let's see here if I can find that, yes, here it is. There's some Macragge Blue from Citadel, and we're going to use it for a very small selected dry brush for the cloak. And with the dry brush, of course, we wipe most of the paint off the wash, looking like this. So you're left with almost no paint on the brush, and you cover this one and blending it together in a nice way. Alright, that's where we go. Putting this one here. And then finally blood for the Bloodgod, as I promised you. This one is one of my favorite effects when it comes to blood and gore effects. You can use this quite sparingly because it's a quite dominant color. But I'm going to use it inside here to create a little bit of a blood effect, as well as up here on the head. As well as his arms. I don't want to show all the highlight, but up here with a gore and a rot effect, I can mix it in quite nicely with the Nurgle Rot to create a very nice blending effect of that. Has a soaring festering wound here on the back that is open, disgusting and horrible. Same thing around here, the bone sticking out. Doesn't have to be too dominant, and you can also use this one effect to actually put some paint drops of blood around the base here once you played it. So same thing here. I'm going to use this one for the mouth. And finally, we are ready for the eyes. And the eyes are the kind of, I just want 2 white dots. 2 white dots when it comes to the eyes. It's quite difficult to get this done right. And we'll see if I can take off my glasses, because I need the extra eyesight for this. Oh, that turned out horribly. As you can see, I'm really horrible with this. So instead of a highlight, I messed up completely here, which means that it's fine. We'll just go back. And instead of painting the eyes normally, I'm going to actually paint some Reikland Fleshshade into the eyes, covering over my mistake. And you can try again if you're own. I'm going to simply leave it like this and admit to myself that painting eyes is just not my style. And there you go, a zombie without the eyes, and a nice and quite quick and easy way. Closing my paint job with paint jar as well. So if you like this video, I would really appreciate if you can consider subscribing to my channel. I also want to thank every one of you who have subscribed to the channel so far. Thank you so much. And if you like this kind of videos, leave a comment, press the like button if you like the video despite all the mishaps I did, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.